Hi there, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Trisha Dinkle, and I am the Northeast Program Manager with the Cleantech Open Northeast region. I want to thank you guys all for coming and attending this webinar to learn more about our program, what we're all about. In addition to hearing an overview of the program from myself, you'll also hear an overview of their experience from one of our illustrious alum, Molly Bales with Adappt Intelligence. And she will also be helping answer the questions if you have any towards the end of the webinar. So in order to ask questions, you'll see on the right-hand bar of your screen navigation. For the webinar itself, you'll see the ability to type in a question, and we'll be able to read those questions and respond to them again at the end of the presentation, but feel free to type in your question at any point throughout as they come up, so you can capture them when they're fresh. So thank you all for coming, and thank you for taking the time to learn about our program. Let me just get the slides up here for a minute. All right. Oops. There we are. All right. Again, my name is Trisha Dinkle, and I'm the Northeast Program Manager. And to introduce the Cleantech Open, first, I would love to discuss our mission. So in addition to being a nonprofit pro bono-based organization, we're a mission-driven organization. So our mission is to find, foster, and fund entrepreneurs with big ideas that address today's most urgent energy, environmental, and economic challenges. This essentially is combining the environment and business into our approach, ultimately accelerating startups that we believe have an impact that is relevant and necessary in our world today. So who we are as an organization, again, we are a nonprofit organization. It is a national organization, the Cleantech Open, with 6 active regional chapters underneath the national umbrella. So we represent the Northeast, which is all of New England, and the tri-state area. So that's Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and then New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania all encompass and feed into our Northeast region. In the Northeast alone, we've had over 390 alum and startups graduate our program. That's over 1,000 for all regions that have gone through the Cleantech Open since its inception. The Accelerator is an annual program, so it's offered May to September once a year. And as I will continue to remind throughout the webinar, for those who are interested and have not applied, our deadline, final deadline is May 1st. So it is approaching fast, and it's great that you are on this webinar to learn more about our program and to hear how it can fit into your startup launching experience. So this is a question that we commonly get about where we play in the field of accelerators. So what is the demographic of startups that we target through the Cleantech Open? Really, we do have startups that come from various stages, particularly because as we highlight this early stage, there's a lot that happens within that early stage. So through our evaluation process of the applications, there are some that we will deem as being a little too far along or a little too early, still in that research phase. Again, that is a case-by-case basis. Generally speaking, we do capture and embrace startups throughout the many early stages that we see highlighted here. We do have a broad sector coverage. How we define clean tech is by these 8 industry sectors. Often startups aren't just siloed into representing one industry sector. There's a lot of overlap between the sectors, and we see that in our startups. Most startups are able to identify strongly with one of the industry sectors, but essentially how we evaluate the relevancy in clean tech for the startups that are applying to the program is how they fit and respond to these 8 industry sectors. The Cleantech Open is fondly referred to. It's a network of networks. It's really at the core, we have our startups and our alumni that have gone through the program. We have volunteers, judges, and mentored, and then embedded into that ecosystem of important partners, investors, stakeholders, government, venture capital, national labs, various people that really create this strong ecosystem that Cleantech Open is able to operate both within and in collaboration with all of these different entities and all of these different stakeholders. That's really what brings the true value of our network that's ever growing into both the participants as well as the alumni experience. The Cleantech Open Accelerator is a rigorous program. As highlighted, it consists of the training aspect. So this is really where we dive into how to strategize and produce deliverables to grow and launch your business. The training is conducted by experts and professionals in the field and include practice judging and the modules and business clinics that are offered monthly from June to August in participating with the program. Mentoring is a key aspect of the program in that it provides both the guidance, the feedback, and the ongoing opportunities to build and foster relationships that are relevant to growing your network as a startup, as well as plugging you into the network that we've created as a launching pad for our startups throughout the Cleantech Open community. The other key highlights of what the program offers is the access to capital. So it's carving out these channels, these opportunities, and preparing startups. So when they do get in the right room in front of the right person, they have both the resources, materials, as well as the persuasive language and know how to identify what the needs are in order to address them to move forward with investment opportunities or that access to capital. And finally, the program also has a strong emphasis on showcasing. So this is, again, not just on a large scale pitching in front of hundreds of people, but also on a smaller scale when it is more intimate, but just as important, if not at times more important, in order to continue to grow your business or to continue your funding rounds. The showcasing for the Cleantech Open is culminated in the regional finals, which this year are going to be held in the Northeast on September 25th and September 26th in New York City. We'll go into the list of all the programming that Cleantech Open offers and the key dates to highlight a little bit later in the webinar, but the showcasing aspect is really highlighted in preparation for the regional finals, in which 4 finalists will be selected from the Northeast, all of which will receive a cash prize and have the opportunity to move on to the national finals to compete for the national title against all of the other top startups from the 5 other regions in the Cleantech Open. When you leave the program, you get more than just the program deliverables, which are created throughout the curriculum and working with the mentors. You really gain, as we break it out, the insight, the focus, and the opportunity. Those come from all, both the programming side and the relationships that you build throughout the course of the program and then continue to build. We like to call it a mini MBA in the sense where it is work that requires your focus and it requires you to lean into it, but it is worth the effort because everything that you do throughout the program, whether it's curriculum or relationship, is doing in the best interest of growing and launching your business. So you're really able to focus in on what the key things are, and when you're a little too close to the problem or to the challenge, you'll be able to gain further insight from those relationships that you're building through mentoring your peers, as well as the judging feedback. You will come out of the program with 8 essential business deliverables. All of these deliverables here are something that you will create as and have a structure for, whether or not they're ready to go right at the end of the program. Most are, and then those are able to continue to work on those resources to make sure that they are live and grow and evolve along with the business themselves. These are important business deliverables. They're essential, and they're really the materials that you must have for a lot of these important conversations and for further access to capital, particularly as all of the other challenges and things that tend to make a startup life busy. Having these things are structured out and having the fundamentals put together and having thought about it throughout the program really does give you a competitive advantage in launching and having those conversations for investment opportunity. As a participant in the Cleantech Open, you will participate or have weekly modules. These are assignments that focus a broad range of business deliverables and business topics in developing your startup. So the assignment process is built out on the side here and explained as it is something, again, that you will deliver. It helps you ask the right questions and work through real life challenges that you're experiencing or strategizing for in advance for your startup. In July, we begin with an in-depth look at the business model canvas and focus on the product marketing fit. We introduce impact and sustainability into the conversation early so that it touches all aspects of your thinking. And then we move on to the channel strategy, product technology validation. In August is when you'll focus on finances and funding, legal management team. And then in early September, we'll be transitioning into showcasing portion of the program, and you'll focus on your executive summary and investor presentation. We've continued to improve and evolve how we offer the weekly modules in order to build off of one another, as well as to take the startup through the full experiencing of developing their business that's both forthright as well as reflective. And again, throughout the whole program, you will have the guidance of mentors, peers, and your teammates to help with both the feedback as well as the improvements on thinking through some of these challenges and answering some of the questions that pop up throughout. So customer discovery is the foundation of all of your work. It's when you get out of the building and gathering data perspective and really take the insights from stakeholders in your target market. Each week, the weekly module builds on this and includes a worksheet of questions to structure your dialogue, a resource toolkit to educate you on the core issues, judging guidance so you'll know how you're going to be evaluated on the topic, and you'll develop a position statement, which you'll share with your mentor to review for feedback and answer any questions that may pop up in that review. The feedback opportunity is, again, something that we want to be able to provide so you can continue to improve on your content and your process in developing that content. Your mentors that are assigned to the team will fall into these roles. So each team will get up to 4 mentors that are assigned and will work alongside your startup throughout the entire program. So mentors will help onboard you into the program, answer any questions, help you get into the rhythm of the weekly modules as well as the curriculum deliverables. But they'll also provide a sounding board. So in the role of the generalist mentors, these will be found as both a lead and a secondary. A lead is really as a point person for the mentoring group. So they're the ones who you'll likely be working closest with, who you'll have the most touch points in terms of contact with. And then the secondary generalist mentor will also be advising the teams on all aspects of building a business and supporting the development of those key relationships. But the lead mentor will really take ownership over structuring and facilitating the conversations and the communications. Also offered is a specialist mentor who will be assigned to your team. And this is someone who is assigned based off of the needs of the team as well as the expertise that the mentor offers. So what we'll do through our mentor matching process is identify what the needs of each startup are. And then from our existing mentor pool or prospective mentor pool, we'll pull valid experts and professionals in those fields or on those specific topics and match them with the team. So you'll have that added expertise mentoring component of the program, and feedback on a sector that you're either pursuing or is in connection to your startup. And then finally, each team will have a sustainability mentor. So this is someone that will really focus on the operational sustainability and product solution sustainability. So things like life cycle analysis, sourcing, packaging, sustainability certifications, and protocols. Your mentors will work together. You won't necessarily always meet with the mentors as a group, but you'll have established contact with them, typically on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. Again, your lead or secondary generalist mentors might be ones that you're in the most contact with throughout the program. But that's not to say that some relationships will evolve even further with a specialist or sustainability, depending on the team dynamic, as well as depending on how those mentor relationships are built. We can say, though, from the feedback that we've received from both the mentors as well as the alumni, that it truly is one of the most valuable components of the accelerator program, as well as the experience itself. So it's honing in on not only being able to apply the learning of developing these key relationships, but in embracing feedback on someone who's able to get close enough to your startup and to your business to advise on a detailed level, but also can have an objective stance on that feedback, really looking to advance you both on your knowledge as well as your ability to embrace and to evaluate the feedback that you're receiving. Our alumni successes are something that really strengthens our program throughout our ongoing growth as an organization. They are they truly add I'd say the perspective and the experiences that we internally hope to be able to provide, but they can speak based off of their experience directly. This is why we value not just the positive things that they have to say, but also some of the challenges or some of their insights on how the program can continually be evolved. This is highlighting one of our Northeast alum, Energy Sage, and this is Vikram, who is the founder and CEO of Energy Sage. Since you can see that he was quoted as having a real focus on their pitching and preparing for their seed round, really helped them break into that ecosystem. Again, highlighting the network as well as what they gained from the business clinics and the business deliverables. Since the Cleantech Open, they have raised over $6 million in private capital and then $3 million in grants. And now they continue to lead the online marketplace for rooftop and community solar. They have customers in closer to 40 states now, and they are the #1 solar company website in the US, providing customer savings throughout. And that is something that they continue to tout and really were focused on throughout the CTO experience on how to balance that in order to make sure that while they grew their business, they were still attending to what the customer needs were. Vikram still is involved with the Cleantech Open community. He serves as both a mentor and has served as a judge. And then he sits on the mentor selection committee to help vet and review new and returning mentors for our 2019 and future Cleantech Open cohorts. So to give further insight on the Cleantech Open experience, I want to introduce Molly Bales, who is the Chief Development Officer of Adappt Intelligence. Molly not only participated in the 2017 Cleantech Open Accelerator, but she's continued to stay involved as a judge and ambassador for CTO. So with no further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Molly.
Hi Trisha, thanks. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, great.
All right, great. Yeah, so I'll give you guys a little bit of background on Adappt, my company, and then a little bit about our experience with Cleantech Open. So Adappt is a system of sensors and analytics that save our clients money and make their employees happier. So the problem we see is that there's really a lack of quantitative real-time data available to people when they're making big real estate decisions, but also kind of on a regular basis, on an ongoing basis, to make their space more efficient. And so the result of that is extraneous spending on real estate, and also decreases in employee productivity, and ultimately employee retention if employees are unhappy. And then that also kind of creates a third set of value in terms of energy efficiency in buildings, which is kind of our connection to the Cleantech Open and kind of sustainability. And so our solution is a software and hardware. So it's a system of sensors and analytics. As I mentioned, we built the software and hardware from the ground up, and we're able to provide data on a real-time basis to help inform real estate decisions, but also be able to improve the day-to-day use of buildings, particularly spaces that are agile workspaces with unassigned seating, and spaces where they need different types of conference room sizing and things of that nature. So that's a little bit about what we do. And in terms of our experience with Cleantech Open, so I met my co-founder back in 2016. We were getting our MBAs at MIT Sloan, and we kind of spun out from this Indian LED lighting company. So a bit of an unusual situation. And we were maybe a year and a half in when we decided to do Cleantech Open. We were actually arguably farther along than some of the other companies in our cohort, just because of that spin out that I mentioned. And so we were on the later end, but we still found it really helpful. I mean, at our time of joining, we actually already had revenue. We did already have commercial products, but for us, I think Cleantech Open was a good process for us in that it kind of forced everyone to confront some strategic questions that we really should have been grappling with on a regular basis, and having a curriculum that asked us those questions and actually had forced deliverables related to those topics helped us go ahead and tackle those. I think that as a startup, it can be really challenging to not get sucked into the minutia and the day-to-day and forego important strategic decisions. And so working through that curriculum with our teammates was really helpful. Just in terms of kind of advice and maybe what we got out of it, we loved our mentors. Our mentors were super helpful. We originally started out doing weekly calls with our mentors, which was very helpful to kind of go over our weekly deliverables. But we also found, as we got later into the process, sometimes it made sense to talk to one mentor about one topic and then talk to another mentor about another topic. So we realized that we shouldn't feel an obligation to include all our mentors in all of our discussions all the time. It actually ended up being more productive that way when it was smaller groups. And we loved our mentors, and I think it's important to keep them involved, take full advantage of the fact that you are paired up with them. And for us, we've actually stayed in touch with our mentors, and that's been helpful for us, just kind of checking in every once in a while. And then the other thing that I think was important for us was that we realized is that we started out, just Vivek and I, my co-founder, being involved in the Cleantech Open process and the deliverables. But as we got in later on in the process, we realized there was a lot of value in bringing in other team members, and that the more team members we brought in, the more cohesive we could be in terms of our strategy and in terms of the discussions we were having. So having that internal alignment ended up being really helpful, and it's something that Cleantech Open helped facilitate. And then in terms of actual useful connections too, at the end of the program, so we were a finalist. We were in the top 8 for our cohort. We did not make it to the top 4. And it was funny because I remember being kind of, obviously a little bit disappointed that, we made it to top 8, but didn't quite make it to the top 4 to go to California. But by being in the top 8 and just in general from networking, we met someone from Breakthrough Energy Ventures, which is it's a really cool venture fund that's backed by like Bill Gates and Richard Branson. Basically all the famous business people that you can think of are part of this fund. And we ended up being able to give them an investor pitch because of our relationship with Cleantech Open. It didn't, manifest into an investment, but it was absolutely, a bite at the apple that we would never have had if it weren't for Cleantech Open. So that was a pretty useful connection to us. But yeah, I think I'll stop there. And then I think, Trisha, you mentioned at the end that you're going to be doing, answering some questions. And so if you all have questions for me about the experience as a startup, I'm happy to speak to that. But for now, I think I'll let Trisha take back over.
Great, thank you so much, Molly. And yes, so again, if you have any questions, whether they're specifically for Molly or just general questions about the program, you can ask them in that right-hand navigation. It pops in and out with the little orange arrow. So you can type your question and send that over, and we'll go through those questions at the end of the webinar. So just to talk a bit in wrapping up about the Cleantech Open timeline. So as I stated before, and will likely state again, our application deadline is on May 1st. So it is just about 2 weeks away, a little under now. So we do encourage those who are considering or on the fence. Hopefully you've determined whether or not it makes sense for you to apply at this stage to go ahead and submit your application and to take that first step into joining our 2019 Cleantech Open cohort for the Northeast. By May 18th, the 2019 cohort for the Northeast will be announced. Shortly after, we will hold our mentor mixers. So these, like our business clinics, are going to be offered in both New York City as well as Boston, and that's a way for us to offer our mirrored programming. So it's essentially the same event, but it's offered for folks in the Northeast who are closer to New York City to be able to attend that programming, as well as folks who are closer to Boston in the Northeast to be able to attend that programming. So we offer this for the mentor mixers and the business clinics. Both the academy as well as the regional finals, those are only held in one region. So this year the academy is held on June 10th and 11th, and that will be held here in Boston, where we're actually headquartered for our office at the Federal Reserve. And then the regional Northeast finals will be held September 25th and 26th in New York City at for the finals at the Amazon Web Services loft right in Midtown. So in early June, after the mentor mixers, and just to pause a bit, these events, the mentor mixers specifically, is kind of the first introduction that the teams have as being accepted into the program, and the opportunity to meet the potential mentors that they'll be working with, as well as on the other side of the coin, the mentors have the opportunity to learn about the teams that will be participating in the 2019 cohort, and to identify teams that they're interested in working with. So it really is a two-way street through these events. Highly encouraged to attend in order to start building those relationships and identifying people that you want to work with, both through the mentor program as well as in general. These are contacts that aren't meant to be isolated just to the teams. Obviously, the priority is going to be working with the team that they're matched with, but that's not to say that in being part of our network, there's still not so many opportunities throughout the program as well as after to build on those relationships with mentors or industry experts that you weren't necessarily matched with. Following the mentor mixers, we'll get information from both the startups and mentors on what their needs are in terms of expertise, as well as what some of their choices are that came out of the mentor mixers. We'll then, in early June, match those 4 mentors with each team. This is a I guess, highly detailed process, again, accounting for what the team needs are, what the team has expressed in terms of their interests or their choice, relationships that they felt were really strong or had the potential to be strong for meeting them at the mentor mixer. We always try to pay mind to the choices, but not everyone, not all teams and not all mentors will be matched with their first choice. And there will be an existing pool of mentors that are not matched with teams, but are available ad hoc as teams need them, either because they're a specialty mentor or their own availability doesn't allow them to work consistently with the team, but they're an added resource that teams will have in order to request an expert or to get feedback or have initial conversations with that additional pool of mentoring. So again, our academy will be held in Boston this year from June 10th to 11th. That is the first mandatory programming that is required from the teams participating. So if accepted into the program, our recommendation is always, because that is a busy weekend in Boston, is to make travel arrangements and accommodations for the Academy, with the knowledge that it is a required event. And that is not included in the, your accommodations and travel expenses are not included in the participation fee. We do have several options that we have lined up to help folks who will be traveling out of town for the Academy, in order to connect them with affordable accommodations. So again, the sooner that you're able to apply and commit to the program, the more options you have for planning the travel to the Academy. Throughout June to mid-August is when we hold our business clinics. These are workshops. They also have deliverables, and the ongoing weekly modules will also be provided during this time. For the Northeast, our business clinics are offered in both Boston and New York City, so you can attend either, but not expected at all to ever attend both, because it will be the same programming for all 5 of the business clinics that are offered throughout the program. And those, you can choose it. Just because you attend one in Boston doesn't mean that you can attend the next one in New York City. And that again is a way for us to help make the travel and attendance higher, in order to play up to the fact that the Northeast, well, you know, the states might not always be the biggest. We comprise a fairly significant region. So we want to make sure that we're offering our program as conveniently as possible. From early to mid-August is when the final program deliverables are due. And then from August to September is when we're focusing on those investor clinics and the pitches, and really refining your presentations in order to prepare for the September 25th and 26th regional judging and finals, which will be held in New York City. And then in November, that date and location to be determined, likely in November 13th to 18th, during that week, is the Global Forum, which is our national finals. It's a global forum because we have expanded outside of the US, and there are global aspects to the programming. So we address that in the title. But this is when you can think of all of the regional finalists coming together, in addition to a majority of the participants from, regardless of being finalists, will attend. Mentors, particularly investors, are really keen on attending this event, as well as having keynote speakers and industry professionals. There's everything from networking opportunities to clinics to tours, depending on the location. There's some practical applications, as well as some entertaining applications of the event itself. It's a great event, and really encourage any of you who do participate in the Northeast to start planning for that early in order to attend. So our application fee, as I mentioned, there is a fee to apply. So when you submit your application, it's a $50 fee. The participation fee is, again, it's so you are investing in the program itself. It is $13.50 for a team of 2. If the team or the startup is led by a full-time student, that participation fee is $9.75. And essentially this fee covers all of the programming. It covers the curriculum resources that you'll receive, as well as the mentoring relationships, and truly all of that. It's undervalued at closer to $5,000 or $6,000. So this is, again, it's not for us to make money off of as a nonprofit, but it really is for us to make sure that there is an investment initially up front, so startups understand and are serious about really leaning into the program and embracing all aspects of it in order to get the true value out of it. The reason why we are able to offer our program at so low cost is because of our sponsors. So we have the extensive level of programming and resources in order to advance CTO as a program and grow our clean tech community. And these are all our sponsors, are people who are invested in our mission, as well as growing that clean tech community and the various markets throughout the US. They range in awarding funding to sponsoring events, as well as offering in-kind sponsorships to our participating teams to help grow their business during or after completion of the program. So this could be everything from discount on software services, legal services, or incubator space, co-working space. It's a whole range, again, totaling of thousands of dollars that our in-kind sponsors are generous enough to share with us in order to provide these additional resources to our participants and to our alumni cohorts. To reiterate and just to highlight the Northeast schedule, these are the key dates. May 21st is the New York Mentor Mixer. If you're accepted into the program, these are invitation only. All of the programming here are to be attended only by participants in the program, whether those are startups, mentors, or investors. And then the Academy is June 10th and 11th in Boston. The June to August business clinics are available in Boston, Mass, and New York City, and those locations will vary slightly within the cities themselves, meaning that they won't be at the same location in Boston each month, but they will be all accessible, and information and details will be provided to the participants well in advance, so travel and accommodations, if needed, can be arranged. And of course, we're always happy to assist or to support any of that as much as possible. The regional finals, as a reminder, will be in New York, and then November we'll be announcing when the Global Forum will be held for the national pitches and competition. So here is the website in order to apply through this bit.ly link. It's the easiest way to go. Takes you directly to the application where you can complete it based off of as much information as you feel is necessary to be both persuasive as well as informative, and to apply by May 1st. And that deadline is fast approaching. So thank you all for attending the webinar. There is a question that we can address, and just before I get into the questions, Beth Sonis is our Northeast Regional Director. She is not on the call today, but she is always around and very interactive, engaged in the program. And if you do participate, you'll no doubt meet her and have the pleasure of really talking to her about her experience, which she serves as the Northeast Regional Director currently, but previously she's been involved with the program for over 9 years as a volunteer and as a mentor. So her insights now as a director are based not only on her industry knowledge, but her experience as a participating stakeholder in the program. So a question that we have is, what is your definition of startup? So we define a startup as a early stage company. It does range. Typically, it's a step beyond just the research component, or the idea, not necessarily indicating that there needs to be prototype developed or any sort of concrete product already in development or slated to be in development. But we do take it to mean that you have a team of more than one person. Ideally, you've identified a small team of people that will be working on strategizing and building out the business, as well as starting to build your network in identifying people that you feel would be beneficial to developing your business. Not necessarily that you've had contact with, but that you can say that you would like to work in order to build a relationship with them and involve them, or someone who fits a similar demographic. It also is someone who has a sense of the, let me switch screens here, sorry.
And Tricia, while you're switching screens, this is Beth Zonis, so I just joined a little bit late. So if anyone has any questions, happy to help. It sounds like
Sure.
You did a great job, though. So.
All right, and so just to finish off the definition of the startup, the definition, if you have a question as to what if you qualify as that early stage startup, I'm happy to take it case by case. We try to avoid being too general about how we quantify it, because there can be different levels of development within even the most early stage startup. Really, what we do in evaluating what stage you're at is we're just trying to make sure that at the stage you're currently entering the program, you're able to get as much value out of the curriculum as well as the feedback. So if you're too early, that feedback might not necessarily be something that you'd be able to apply or would be relevant at the time that it is applicable. So aligning that, and there's a wide range to the stages, even within early, as I mentioned. So we feel like it doesn't necessarily make it too narrow of a definition. It actually broadens it because of the way that we're able to address the development, not just through one avenue of curriculum or education, but through many avenues, including a network and feedback and showcasing opportunities.
And to elaborate on that, where most of our startups are in that early pre-pilot phase. Some, as Molly said, are already have maybe a customer or two and maybe have some grant funding. But everybody who goes through the program should be able to benefit from the details of building out the business skills that we're able to help you with, and also to build your network.
Excellent. And so the next question is, does a person need to be a U.S. citizen to join this program? So while no, you do not need to be a U.S. citizen to join the program, the programming, the business clinics, the academy, and the finals are all in-person events. So you do have to be located somewhere in the Northeast, ideally, where you're able to attend the programming, either you or your teammate. We do suggest, because your participation fee does account for both teammates, that as many opportunities as possible that both team members are joining in the programming. This is twofold: one for the educational purpose of joining and attending, but also for networking and building up those relationships, whether it's peer-to-peer through the mentors or through the experts that are speaking or presenting at the various programming events.
And one other thing is that while you do not need to be a U.S. citizen, you do need to set up a U.S. entity if you're going to receive any of the prize money at the end.
Excellent. Thank you. And I believe that is it for the questions.
We are happy to take private questions. So if you're if you would rather contact us separately, that is completely fine. And I think our contact information is on this slide, so feel free to reach out to either Tricia or Beth.
Great. Well, I want to thank Molly Bales again for providing her insights. And if you have any questions specifically for Molly, feel free to reach out to myself, Tricia, and I'm happy to connect you with Molly if that's the case. We really do value and are very honored with our growing alum base, and particularly when they're able to offer their time and insights in order to educate and to make other potential applicants aware of the value of the program and speak to their experiences. So thank you so much, Molly, and thank you, Beth, for joining and helping out with the Q&A. And thank you all for attending. Again, our contact information is up there on the screen, so feel free to reach out to myself or Beth with any questions or any specific follow-up. We do encourage anyone who is considering and feels like they would be a good fit to apply as soon as possible in advance of the May 1st deadline, so you can start going on the scheduling and coordinating with your calendars. So thanks again.
Thank you, Tricia.
Thank you, and everyone have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing some applications come through.
Thank you, Tricia, and enjoy your Holy Weekend with Passover and Easter coming up.
Thank you.
Good luck, everyone.
Take care. Bye.